Good day. In our previous lesson on life and living, and the second unit, which is biodiversity, we ended up discussing the invertebrates animals which are part of animal kingdom. Remember, we said animal kingdom is different into two groups: the vertebrates and the invertebrates. Animals with spines, animals without spines. And we have dealt with the animals with spines, and they have five groups, which is fish, amphibians, reptiles, mammals, and birds. Okay, and we got the examples of each, but there can be more of the examples of these groups of vertebrate animals. And we have learned what do they mean by fish, the characteristics of a fish. And we came across new terms: cold-blooded, oviparous, gills, and we did not explain them in the previous lesson. Actually, we did, but towards the end, we did not explain. Okay, so I just want us to go and look at those terms again, just quickly. They say cold-blooded. It means that the body of the animal take on the same temperature as the surrounding. If the temperature is cold outside, the body of the animal will be cold as well, and the temperature of the animal will be cold. And warm-blooded, the body temperature remains constant and does not change with the temperature of the surrounding. So with warm-blooded animals, which are the birds and mammals, the temperature stays the same. Either the surrounding it's different, the temperature will stay the same of those animals. And the gills, they say it is an opening that is used by, for example, fish to absorb the dissolved oxygen from water into the bloodstream. Remember, the fishes breathe through the gills. And the last term, which is new, it's oviparous, which means an animal lays eggs. Okay, and the eggs develop outside the body. Okay, like your birds, they lay the eggs, and the eggs develop outside the body. Okay, so we have learned those terms. So now we can look into the invertebrates animals. I just wanted to explain those new terms under vertebrate animals. Then let's continue with the vertebrate animals. Let's continue with invertebrate animals. Invertebrate animals can be divided into various smaller groups and do not have spine. We know that by now. The skeleton is on the outside of the body. This is called exoskeleton. We know this by now. There are more than 1.3 million invertebrate species on Earth. Wow. Okay, let's look further. The following is a simple representation of the classification of invertebrate animals. So invertebrates are animals. Okay, these are vertebrates. We've covered them, classified into five groups. Now we are looking into invertebrate animals. Okay, so we have under invertebrate animals, we have animals without jointed legs, and we have animals with jointed legs that are called arthropods. Okay, animals with jointed legs, animals without jointed legs, and animals with jointed legs that are called arthropods. Okay, please remember that. Okay, now let's look at each type of this two groups. Okay, and then the animals without jointed legs, they are also divided into three, or grouped into three. First, we have cavity inhabitants. They say, for example, sea anemones, and we have mollusca, for example it's snail, and we have worms, example is the earthworms. These ones, they have jointed legs. And sorry, they don't have jointed legs. These are animals without jointed legs. Cavity inhabitants, mollusca, and worms. And we have animals with jointed legs, that is arthropods. We have centipedes and millipedes. We have insecta, for example beetles. We have arachnids, a spider. We have crustacea, crab. Okay, now let's look further into this. These are all the examples. This side is without jointed legs, and this side is with jointed legs. Okay, so let's continue. They say invertebrates are divided into 20 smaller groups or phyla. Remember, phyla can mean your group. We will look at the following phyla. We have, this is what we will focus on, okay? Phyla under mollusca, we have snails, so we'll look at snails. We'll look at arthropods, the ones with jointed legs, like for example your spider, a crab, okay, and a locust will fall under that. Or we'll look at insecta, a locust will follow under insecta. We'll look at arachnids, spider, and we'll look at the crustacea, which is crab. So which means in our lesson or in our grade, these are the 5 invertebrate animals that we are going to focus on. Okay, these are the 5 invertebrate animals that we are going to focus on. Okay, so we are going to under a mollusca, we are going to look at the snails, and then under arthropods we are going to look at these 3, right? The insecta, the arachnids, and the crustacea. Please don't confuse yourself and try to understand all these ones. You see, under jointed legs, under animals without jointed legs, we are only going to focus on this one, mollusca. Okay, mollusca. Okay, and then under arthropods, we are going to focus under insecta. Okay, and our example is going to be a locust. And then we are going to focus under arachnids. Our example is spider. We are going to focus under crustacea, which is a crab. The example, please, this is very important. Don't take everything, just focus on the ones that they say that we are going to look at. Okay, so we are going to look at 2 groups, one without jointed legs, and we are going to look there for mollusca, okay, and snails. And then we are going to look at with jointed legs, arthropods, and our examples that we are going to look at is insecta, locust, it's arachnids, spider, it's crustacea, a crab. Okay, now they say the organisms will be compared according to body, skeleton, movement, breathing, and eyes. So we are going to use these 5 characteristics to compare these organisms. Okay, we are going to compare them according to body, skeleton, movement, breathing, and eyes. So for which means under each item here, okay, we are going to look at its body, we are going to look at its skeleton, we are going to look at its movement, we are going to look at how it breathes, and its eyes. Okay, so let me try to minimize this so that you can see this clearly, because it's a little bit big table. I hope you can still see. Okay, I will just maximize it a little bit. Okay, so let's they say that the following table compares the most important characteristics of the four example of invertebrate classes. Okay, remember it's the ones on top. It's the one on top. It's these three, right? And the first one. Okay, let's continue. Now we're going to look at the snail. Okay, we have the snail. We are going to look at its body. As they say, we're going to compare the body. Okay, so we're going to look at the body of the snail. They say it has got head, feet, and intestinal disc. Okay, do this a little bit. So that is how the body of the snail is divided. Okay, we look at the snail feelers or antennae. Okay, the feelers or antennae, they say the number of the number and function. How many feelers does it have, and what is the function of these feelers? It has got two pairs of feelers used to smell and feel. Okay, I will show you this feelers on the snail. And a number of feet, it does not have feet, the snail. Okay, and then breathing organs, an opening for breathing, it has an opening, and a skeleton, a soft body, a lot of water supports the body. And movement, it moves, it has got wave motions by muscular foot and eyes. And number and function, let's hear a simple black eye at the end of each tentacle. Okay, so the eye is at the end of each tentacle. Okay, so now let's look at the diagram of the snail so that you just see. Okay, so we have the shell, we have the muscular feet. Okay, and we have the breathing opening that the snail use. We have the mouth, we have the feeler. Okay, sometimes they call these upper feelers and these are lower feelers. Okay, upper feelers or lower feelers, and another name they call them tentacles. Okay, and here at the top of the upper feelers we've got the eyes. You see this little bollocky here, it's the eyes of the snail. Okay, so please know this diagram. Okay, and let's continue. So now we have looked into the snail. Okay, and let's look at the second day. Oh no, what have I done? Yes, we are here. I just need to go up a bit. Now let's look at the locust under insecta. So I will. So the locust, it has got the body is divided into head, thorax, and abdomen. And the feelers, it has got two long feelers with joints used to smell and feel. And the breathing organs, it has got an opening for breathing on the chest and abdomen, and the skeleton gives the shape of the body and it protects it. Movement, the locust walks, jump, and flies. And the eyes, it has got two large compound eyes, and see a mosaic image. It has got two large compound eyes. Okay, and for this locust you don't have to know the diagram. And animals, sorry, for the spider now under arachnids, we have the body is divided into cephalothorax, and the abdomen. It doesn't have feelers, only two hairy claws that helps to catch prey and to fill. Okay, and when it comes to the number of feet, it has got 8 feet, and it uses book gills, slit openings under the abdomen to breathe, and the abdomen is softer and has a leathery skeleton. The movement of the spider, it jumps and walk, and the number of eyes, it has got 8 simple eyes. Okay, now the crab, which falls under crustacea, it has got the body division. It has got the cephalothorax, the abdomen, and two pairs of feelers. Two pairs of feelers. Let's go down and see the number of feet. The crab has got 10 feet. It uses gills to breathe. And the skeleton, it has got a hard shell. Abdomen has a thinner skeleton. It walks diagonally with four big legs. You know, the crab walks sideways. And it has got two compound eyes at the end of the short shafts at the front of the cephalothorax. Okay, so this is how we differentiate these invertebrates classes according to their body, skeleton, eyes, movement, and feelers. Okay, and breathing. Okay. Okay, please, this table is very, very, very important to know and understand, and know your labelings for the garden snake. Okay, let's continue now. Want us to pass the exercises. So we have covered the classes, 4 classes of invertebrate animals. Okay, please, you need to know those 4 classes of invertebrates animals. Okay, so now we are done with the animal kingdom. Okay, or diversity of animals. So now we are moving to the plant kingdom to understand the diversity of plants. Now, they say plants produce their own food through photosynthesis. Plants are therefore called the producers of nature. Plants can be divided into groups that differ from each other concerning structure, shape, size, and development. You see, with the invertebrates, we were using a body, skeleton, breathing, eyes, and movement to differentiate them. But with the plants, we are going to use structure, shape, size, and development to look at the plants. And they say plants produce their own food through photosynthesis, thus we call them producers. Okay, producers are plants because they can produce their own food through photosynthesis. Okay, and remember, we said the living organism that can produce their own food, we call themselves autotrophic. Autotrophic, you remember. And the ones that depend on others for food, on other animals for food, they are called heterotrophic. Remember that. Okay, so producers are autotrophic and they are plants. Okay, now let's read on the quick fact quickly. Plants can convert radiation energy of the sun into the energy that is captured in food molecules. They do this using the chlorophyll, because chlorophyll is the one that absorbs the light energy and convert it into a chemical energy. This energy is available to animals which are consumers and cannot produce their own food. So animals are consumers because they cannot produce their own food, therefore they are heterotrophic. Let's summarize this again. Plants are producers and they are autotrophic because they can produce their own food. Animals are consumers and they are heterotrophic because they cannot produce their own food. They depend on their consumers. Please get that, it's very important. So in the plant kingdom, they say it is divided in as follows. We have plants without seeds and we have plants with seeds, and we call them spermatophytes. Okay, plants without seeds, plant with seeds, and they are spermatophytes. Okay, now let's look into this plants with seeds. So plants with seeds are also divided into two. We have the coniferous plants, which are cone bearing plants, okay, like your pine tree. And we've got flowering plants, and flowering plants are divided into two as well. We have monocotyledonous, sometimes they call them monocotyledons. uh, let's use this one for now. We've got monocotyledonous plants and we've got dicotyledonous plants. Okay, we'll explain this further when we continue, but we know for now that mono means one and di means two. Okay, so let's summarize. We've got plant kingdom. It has got plants with seed, plants without seeds. And plants with seeds, we've got coniferous plants, okay, which are cone bearing plants. And we've got flowering plants. Flowering plants, we've got monocotyledonous plants and we've got dicotyledonous plants. Okay, these are new terms that you need to familiarize yourself with. Okay, let me refer to the page here because I see it's not nice and clear. We are on page 63 on your textbook. Okay, so let's look at plants without seeds. Okay, so plants that reproduce without seeds are, for example, ferns. There are approximately 280 fern species that are indigenous to South Africa. Ferns usually grow in damp, shady environments. The most important feature that distinguish ferns from seed plants are growth of spores that carry in piles under the leaf, and they do not bear flowers or cones. They don't bear flowers or cones. Okay, and they say example are ferns. They say spores are not the same as seeds because the cell in the spore is unfertilized. They say plants that do not form seeds are called simple or lower plants. This is important. Plants that do not form seed are called simple or lower plants, and the example is algae, fungi, and ferns fall into this group. I just want us to see the ferns and spores on the ferns. These are the example of the ferns. Okay, plants without seeds. Okay, plant without seeds. See them? Okay, this is the fence, and I want to show you the spores of the fence quickly. Spores on fence, yes. They look like seeds, but they say they are not. They are unfertilized. Okay, so they cannot be seeds. Okay, so spores are different to seeds because they are a unfertilized. Okay, let me look at this one. So they show us the spores, you see them. Okay, these little things here now they took them under microscopic and we can see them. They look like seeds, but they are not seeds because they are unfertilized, as they say in the textbook. They say spores are not the same as seeds because the cell in the spores is unfertilized. Okay, so which means it cannot reproduce. Those are example of plants without seeds. This includes algae and fungi. Algae and fungi, I don't know if I've showed you algae, and oh, it was the other class. Okay, let's look at the algae. You see this green stuff that lies on watery places. Okay, you see, that's your algae. And let's quickly look at the fungi. Fungi as well, so you know what we're talking about. You see, it grows on mushroom, and I want you to see it here. It is also on damp surfaces. You see fungi, you see fungi. Okay, you see that. You see nice. So the nice diagram, you see fungi. What more can we see on fungi? It's on mushrooms there. It looks like mushroom, okay, but it's fungi. Okay, you see this thing? That's our fungi. I think I've showed you enough. Let's go back and continue with our lessons. Okay, now this is an interesting fact. The common tree, the common fern tree, which is an example of plant without seeds, is indigenous to South Africa. It has naked stem, and at the top there is a crown of leaves. It grows best in partial shade. These ferns grow very slowly. They grow about 3.5 centimeter to 5 centimeter per year. Can you imagine? 5 centimeter per year. How long will it take it to grow or to be a meter? Can you imagine? And can become very old. The ferns grow about 5 meter high. A tree fern of 5 meter high is there for more than 100 years. If you see it, it's 5 meter high, the tree, you must know it's more than 100 years. Another example of plants that reproduce without seeds are the moss, and the spore of moss are carried into sporophyte. Okay, I think I need to show you the moss as well quickly. Moss. Okay, you see the moss is similar to algae, but the algae is mostly on water, and the moss is all on the damp areas. Okay, damp rocky areas, and they mention moss sporophyte. Let's look at the moss sporophyte. Okay, you see now the moss sporophyte, which means it's okay, and you see the sporophyte. Now they show it. It's this part from here up to there. Let me just show you. Yes, there we go. They say this length up to the top of this capsule is the sporophyte. Okay, so this is the moss sporophyte. From here up to there, moss sporophyte. Let's see it again. From where there are no leaves up is the sporophyte. So the examples of plants without seeds can be algae, fungi, ferns, and the moss. Okay, so you know about 4 examples of plants without seeds, but the most one that we've learned most about it, it's the ferns tree. Okay, and that brings us to the end of our lesson in terms of plants without seeds, but this was covered under diversity of plants. Okay, diversity of plants is divided into 2: plants with seeds and plants without seeds. So today we covered plants without seeds. Okay. Okay,